What's up, Yoon-Fam? It is I,
Mark Yoon.
In today's video, we're going to discuss the third and final part of the reasons against a Season 3 for Soul Calibur 6 that I've been doing this week. Now, I know I've covered a bunch of different topics, and I know there's still a lot more that I have to actually go out on. So, after this video, what I want you guys to do is go in the comment section down below or on the Discord, and I want you to give me your reasons why you would not want a Season 3. You've told me in the past reasons that you would want a Season 3, so this time in particular I want to know what reasons you have against a Season 3. If you want to also add some reasons why, that's fine as well. Just try and make a balance of it, do so some for and some against, because some of these videos I'm probably going to use in my community video, these comments in my community video at the end of the month, so keep that in mind when you're making your comments. But with that being said, we're going to jump right into today's video, which is the third and final part, and it is probably the most opinionated version of these three videos. I know before I talked a lot about problems that were within the game and reasons that they needed to fix things and reallocate resources before they move on to a Season 3, and this is just kind of against Season 3 in general. And I know that sounds really bad, but please bear with me until the end of the video, because hopefully some of these points will make sense to you, and if they don't, I completely understand. There are some people that just want more content for whatever reason, and that's your own prerogative. It's not anything that I can say or deter you from actually wanting or aspiring towards, and a part of me agrees with you and wants a Season 3 as well. But the final part that is going to be towards this is the content that's within Season 3 itself. So I know I touched on this in a live stream, but the characters that were data mined and revealed to be the characters that we would be allocated for in Season 3 would be none other than Rock, Aeon, a guest, and Yoon-Song. Now, outside of a guest, there's actually not much that actually brings people into this season. Like before, we had more oomph to them, but I know a lot of people really like these characters, and they are legacy characters and do deserve a spot back on the roster. But I still think that it would be better served if they were actually on the base roster of Soul Calibur 7 as opposed to finalizing the game out this way. I think it would be more of a whimper than a roar. I think Season 2 did a really good job of kneecapping the end of this game and giving us a continuation thought processes into the next game. They gave us a lot to think about, a lot of setups, a lot of new information, and I think they did a really good job with Season 2, especially with the narrative. The characters that we see that would be in Season 3 are characters that are legacy and have been in a lot of games, but they're not usually part of the main story. If you notice that that Rock is usually off doing his own thing or teaming up with a few of the other side characters doing side missions while the main plot is going on, he usually has something, especially in the first iteration of the game, of coming to his own or trying to rescue Bangu or things of that nature. It's never really anything that has anything detrimental to the story itself. Now, obviously, with any of these narrative things, they can change and make them more included in the actual main part of the story. But the characters' personalities in general usually don't tend towards that, especially someone like Yoon-Song. Even though he's a part of the Korean trio in the Soul Calibur franchise, he usually is a part doing his own thing, whereas Sungmina usually probably pretty much sticks to Hwang in that aspect, and they all pretty much go on their own separate ways, doing their own separate things and meeting up occasionally to do, like, go on adventures and whatnot. But that's not usually anything about the main mission. It's usually about his rivalry with Hwang, or something that has to do with his own country, or things of that nature. Yoon-Song's never really, inundated in the main part of the actual story. The same thing goes for Lizardman or Aeon, though there is some kind of leeway with that character, because a lot of the Fugal Sestima stuff and the way he was transformed, you can easily include him in the main part of the story and have him team up with the good guys or the bad guys, depending on what scenario you want to bring forth from that, and I think that would be good for either way. So Aeon is probably the only character that I can see, narratively speaking, would have an actual reason to be in Season 3, but with all these new Soul Chronicles, we can't just cut off ties to what we've seen in Season 2, or kind of put them on the back burner and have these little fun adventures. It would kind of disrupt the momentum that has been gained from Season 2. I think if you have all this interesting stuff with the shepherds and swords and all of these inklings towards Viola's birth and SCVI and all these things of that nature, and then you suddenly stop and you have a little romp about Rock trying to rescue Bangu from, you know, somebody. I think that would just interrupt the entire flow of what we have is a good momentum going towards Soul Calibur 7. These are characters that I like, and I would love to have their playstyles back, especially for Create a Soul, but as I mentioned in my other video, I think there's a lot that needs to be fixed in Create a Soul before you start adding things that are just going to be afflicted with the same problems that are affecting the current situation going on with Create a Soul. If you don't fix the clipping and the floating issues and the non-compatibility issues, no matter what you actually bring us with the new characters, you're still going to have those, and they're not going to be available for all the races and genders, so it's only going to be, like, for very specific character creation stuff anyway. But even said that, even if you do put them, include them in part of the main story, and you do have them leading up with, like, the swords and the shepherds, and you have all this new information coming at us with these characters, I still feel like it kind of interrupts the flow of things. Like, now maybe if this was Season 2, and then we ended Soul Calibur 6 with Season 3, the way that we had it with Season 2, I think that that would actually lend more credence to the possibility of that being coming to fruition. But with the financial straits that Japan as a whole is placed upon right now, especially with Project Soul being a smaller team under Bandai Namco, and the release schedule already falling behind a little bit, I think that, like, it would really behoove them to actually focus and fix their game and maybe possibly come out with a current gen version, being a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox Series X version of their game, fixing minor issues that we can see, and then releasing patches up until Soul Calibur 7 and fix the other parts of Soul Calibur 6, such as mentions I've talked about in the prior videos from this week. It's not only just the characters themselves that actually lend me towards not really wanting this season pass either. I feel like we're in a good spot, and I just think that if you add anything right now, it's going to kind of cause division that's unnecessarily warranted. I feel like we all know that Season 2 was a great job, and as much as we want more content, I think deep down inside, most of us actually want the game to actually play better than it is now, especially fixing things like the netcode and things of that nature. But there's not much else that I wanted to add to this. There are other topics that I wanted to touch on, but I want to hear from you guys first in the comment section and on Discord about the reasons that you would not want a Season 3. Try to focus on that aspect as opposed to why you would want it, because we're going to get into that in future videos. But keep the conversation going. I really want to hear from you guys. And like I said, some of these comments are going to show up in the community video that it's going to be at the end of this month, which is fast approaching, so keep that in mind. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't to the channel already. I'd really appreciate it, especially if you love Soul Calibur content. I feel like we dive into a lot more Soul Calibur stuff on this channel than I've seen on some other channels, especially the main ones. And we pretty much focus solely on Soul Calibur here on this channel. So if you love Soul Calibur and you want a one-stop shop of where to get all your news and information, then this is the place for you. If you want to join the Yoon-Fam, there's a button for that next to subscribe. We do live streams every weekend, and I look forward to interacting with you guys individually. And with that being said, we're going to bring this video to a close. And as always, I love it. Thank you.
And thank you.